welcome to Wrestling, and thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. And this week we are talking about wrestling and G1 Climax 31. It's
32.
32, I'm sorry. 32. 31 okay. Was last year.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing some weird numbers. 32.
Or unless we're talking about last year's,
yeah.
Which would be weird.
Yes, we are talking about this year's G1 Climax 32. I thought it was pretty damn good. We're going to talk about a few other things here, but the G1 Climax, it's generally always one of the best wrestling. It's the best wrestling tournament of the year, every year in wrestling, and this year, yeah, same thing. It wasn't as hot as other years as far as people talking about it, but the quality was just bar none. And joining me this week is the co-host extraordinaire, Dr. In-Ring Art, Justin. How are you doing, Justin?
Oh, not too bad, yeah. I mean, it definitely wasn't, being talked about as being hot as it was, a few years ago, but it definitely was a very entertaining tournament.
And that's going to happen. As long as there's, the crowd is not cheering and...
Well, a lot of it, too, is it was back then, it was just WWE and New Japan. That was it.
Yeah.
Maybe Ring of Honor, little things like that. And it was so far separated from everything. But now that we have kind of this blended universe of wrestling that we didn't have 4 years ago.
There are a large chunk of New Japan fans, and I've seen this. There are a large chunk of New Japan fans who have just changed to AEW as their main. And that's fine. Right, like that's totally fine.
Oh, sure.
But this was their alternative back in the day, and we all know that. And now that's changed. A lot of people followed Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Chris Jericho.
And I think there's also a share of New Japan fans that don't like AEW because they feel like it's pulling their favorite product into an area where they don't want to be in the mainstream, and it was like their own little quiet thing 15 time zones away.
Yeah.
So I think there is that element of it too. There's some people that are New Japan fans that don't like any of this AEW stuff.
Yeah. Or just like someone like me that I like the great matches in AEW. I'm not so into the Western storytelling anymore where it's just like dudes run out and we cut a promo and then this story thing happens. I really like the just matches after matches, and we tell our story through there. Maybe a promo here and there. But AEW definitely has taken part of the New Japan audience. I still do think that a screaming fan base will help quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw the crowds on the verge of it a few times during this tournament.
Oh, boy. On the verge. I mean, dude. There were points where, and it was specifically, I want to say this, it was really, very specifically, it was Jonah who was getting the crowds so hot. And this guy, I know we're just jumping into it, but fuck it, let's just jump into it. This Jonah guy, when he gets on that top rope, man, you can hear, every time he gets on the top rope, and especially in the last few, you can hear the whole crowd gasp and just do this. Oh, it's almost as if they can't control themselves.
First of all, do you see when he goes into the ring and he kind of does that stomp in the middle of the ring and the whole ring shakes?
Then the camera shakes and moves back.
The camera gets all Kevin Dunny in there.
Which is cool because that's like an Okada thing. You get your own camera shot entrance.
No, him and Tom Lawler really got over really huge in Japan, and it was really awesome to see.
I totally agree, man. And on that note, we'll have to give grades to all the participants because
absolutely,
this was a G1 where a lot of people stepped up. This was a G1 where a lot of new people kind of came in, and we saw some interesting stuff. But in general, the people that were in it just, they worked their asses off. I'd say in general. No one's talking about Yujiro as one of the best, but even he had a few good matches. So
Yujiro did all right, but next year, let's swap him out for somebody fresh, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And let's go back to 2 blocks, just like we've gone back to 1 Wrestle Kingdom, and you heard that announcement, did you?
I did, and I don't know if that. Still think there's a good chance the AEW title gets defended on that show.
Oh, well, I mean, I think there's already been rumors that AEW will be part of it. And you know what? I'd be okay seeing Pac versus, I would say Ibushi, but God, Ibushi, that's a whole different story. But I would love to see Pac get in there, and even just defending his championship would be amazing in the Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, maybe we'll see that, Darby Allin versus Hiromu car accident match that we've been waiting for.
At Wrestle Kingdom? Yeah, I could see that.
Why not?
That would be cool. I mean, who do we got as the junior guy? We haven't talked juniors in a while. Right now, it's Taiji Ishimori, right? And he's out of a tag team. He cannot tag anymore, really. His tag team partner is now a heavyweight, right?
Unless he, tags with Gato or something.
Oh, boy. That'd be rough.
He's technically a,
Yeah. Oh, you could tag with Sho.
Lightweight.
Right?
A junior. That's true.
But the Sho is House of Torture. That's like a subgroup. So, let's get this out of the way real quick. Let's talk about Okada winning the G1. I have my opinions on this, mostly positive. What do you think, Justin? What do you think about Okada doing it once again?
I mean, I kind of said it on Twitter, and I've mentioned it. Like, it's very fitting that the most prestigious tournament, the G1, so not that many tournaments, but prestigious event in pro wrestling comes down to arguably the two greatest in-ring performers in the world, right?
Yeah. I mean, at least it's top four. And I just want to say this: there's a lot of tournaments. There's a lot of tournaments.
Arguably the top two. I'm not saying that they are, but I'm saying you can make an argument that those two are 1 and 2 in the world.
Oh yeah,
and I'll listen to it. Very fitting it came down to those two.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like the best two sports teams, dude. It's like the Warriors, go against the Lakers at the time, or the
Lakers. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's the two best going at it to decide who's the best, right?
Yeah.
No one snuck through with the 8th seed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you had the top 1 and 2 performers in the world decide this tournament. Now, there was a little tiny bit of me that had the LOL Okada wins kind of thing going, right? I was a little surprised that he won just because, I know that he actually, the wife had the baby and all that, so I thought he was going to go on a bit of a leave.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was going to be maybe Naito's swan song, get him that in that tournament. I mean, at Wrestle King, get his main event, because who knows where his career is going. Definitely a little bit on the downswing. And when Ospreay got there, I just thought whoever was going to win in that match, Naito and Ospreay, that they were going to go over. But I was a little surprised to see Okada do it. And I mean, how could you be mad at Okada? I mean, Okada is the best guy. You can never get mad when the best guy wins, I guess. But I do see the little bit of the LOL Okada wins, like during all his defenses, right? Back in the 16, 17, 18 kind of era. Especially when he beat Naito at Wrestle Kingdom after he won the G1 27, I think it was. There was a few. All right, enough with this Okada thing. Some people felt that way, but when you see the guy perform and what he does out there, you can't be mad. I can't hear you anymore, buddy.
Sorry. This is so different from a Roman Reigns / John Cena shoved it down our throat type of thing, in the way that this guy is literally one, if not the best wrestlers in the world. And I remember back, you remember Kenny versus Okada in the Dome, and it's like, oh, back then, like, you really wanted to see Kenny win, but it just didn't happen. And there's been this precedent set that Okada is just the guy, and he will steal your hopes and dreams definitely for the first time, but he does it in the most entertaining way possible. Incredible performer, just keeps going. He's had his slumps, right? He's had his, like, which may just be a work. You remember the whole, like, I'm going to use...
The balloons?
Yeah, well, do you remember when he was, like, choking everybody out with the money clip and stuff, and that was...
No, I think it kind of reminded me of Tiger Woods. Like, if Tiger Woods, when he was in his dominant time, sometimes he would, I want to change my swing up. So he would kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? He would dissect his swing, and he would be willing to take 6-8 months a year where he's he doesn't perform as well because he's trying to fix something. So Okada, that kind of Okada's like, I'm gonna maybe be down for a little bit because I'm trying to get this money clip figured out, and now it's working perfectly, and he's added the Flosion.
He's doing the
landslide,
the Flosions, which is he's doing that usually instead of tombstones, although he's still doing tombstones now. The Flosion seems much safer than the tombstones,
right?
But also at the same time, like, depending on who sells it, the Flosions can look really, really brutal. I want to add two things to this. First of all, what happened last year, right? To Okada, he won the G1, in a terrible
injury
situation,
yeah,
right. And at that point, in a way, seeing Okada win this year is pretty awesome.
Is that 4 times that he's won it?
I think 4 times. He won it 2 in a row. God, back in the day. He beat Nakamura, and he beat what? Yeah, I'm having trouble remembering all that. But yes, I think it's 4 times. If it's plus 1 or minus 1, you guys can email us. I was just watching the history of the G1 with that thing Kevin Kelly did. Those were great.
Right.
Still, recommend anyone to go watch that if you don't know. The countdown they were called. Those are awesome.
Yeah, they have a nice narrative of the Bullet Club and all that stuff.
I was just watching one on the G1 today, and they were showing Okada and Nakamura for the G1 final, and Okada won. That seems like a must-watch match, but this was back in the day, and he was still doing the same stuff he does nowadays, pretty much. Spinning, or it does tombstone on the ground, which is pretty brutal. But at the same time, this is the 50th year anniversary of the company, and someone who's embodied that the most is Okada. He's changed his move set. He's made the enziguri into a type of drop kick style, like, transition move. The enziguri is like, oh, everyone shouts like, oh my god. He does it right in the most intense points, and that's a big shout out to Inoki. So,
and I think a lot of us are even surprised that he doesn't have the title right now.
Yeah, well, Jay White,
with the 50th year. Yeah, with the 50th year, we kind of thought maybe he would carry the title all the way to Wrestle Kingdom, and maybe Jay White would have won the G1.
Yeah, but as far as the G1 goes, they reversed it basically. And they said, hey, well, this is Okada's year. Last year was Okada's year, most likely, but it was an accident. And how good it must feel to win the G1 legitimately, quote unquote. I mean, it's wrestling, right? But without an injury. The 50th year, again, he wants to see Inoki in the ring and stuff like that. Not in the ring, but like there watching a New Japan event. So there's a lot of symbolism behind this win as well. Dude, Okada, I'm just going to say this. Okada could just keep winning. As long as he performs at that level, I really can't complain that much, dude.
That's what I'm saying, is like when you see the guy have matches and what he does and how, he can conform to any opponent and have any type of match you're looking for. You see the guy perform. See, that's, you compare it to, not compare it, but you were saying the whole John Cena, Roman Reigns kind of thing, where it's like they always win kind of thing. I think a lot of that's the presentation and, the fact that they're on so much TV and they're kind of shoved down our throats. With Okada, you just see the guy wrestle, right? And you talked about it earlier, where you're not given the Western presentation where they give a 20-minute promo at the beginning of the show, and then they have a main event, and they maybe pop up and do things here and there throughout the whole show, and then they get the headline every pay-per-view and all that. I mean, the way the presentation works out with New Japan,
they just kick people's ass.
Right. So the way it's set up in New Japan, you can have a dominant champ and not really complain, because how many title defenses is he going to have? 2 or 3 a year, 4 or 5 a year, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. It was awesome. Okada again, you're gonna see he's in ghetto style booking. He's always gonna another thing. Okada's always gonna beat the first time. Here's the thing, like the lower guy's gonna get to a point where he's so close, and when that point comes, Okada's usually gonna win. But the next year. So let's move the talk on to Will Ospreay, right? Will Ospreay, obviously second place in the tournament, which doesn't really mean anything, but God, what a fucking tournament for this guy.
Yeah, he was great. The Shingo match was great. Who did he lose to? David Finlay?
Finlay, he beat...
I think that was his only loss.
Yeah. He beat Juice Robinson.
I think
Dude,
so.
they're showing Juice Robinson pictures with dreadlocks. Wow. That's old school.
But yeah. Juice was a disappointment, but I don't know if you want to go guy by guy. But
well, let's do it. Let's give them their as is done by.
You want? We could start with the A block or something, and
we'll start with the D block and start with Ospreay, right?
Okay.
I give I just have to give Ospreay an A plus. This dude is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
His Naito match was fucking ridiculous. His selling is just maybe only Ishii can sell like him. The elbows.
Naito's a seller too. Yeah.
The part I remember with the selling is Naito with the elbows and Ospreay's body just collapsing more and more until it's stretched out backwards in this awkward position. And
with the tape and the kind of, that's the thing with, you don't have the clap crowds, the sound effects of him screaming and stuff like that every time he got hit in the back of the neck.
Yeah. So what do you think about Will Ospreay? Same?
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't know if I give A pluses very liberally, but definitely at least an A. I mean, the guy is just, like we said earlier, two of the best wrestlers in the world, if not the two best.
He's to that
whether you think he's a bit of a, a bell end or whatever they say back there or not, the dude is legitimately in the conversation for greatest wrestler in the world.
And you say legitimately, like legitimately almost died.
I was going to say that too. 6 months ago, he had a kidney infection and almost
104.
died.
Right? Dude, when I had a fever of like 101 when I was a kid, I was hallucinating. And he had a fever of 104, dude. Jesus. Like months ago.
It's crazy. And this was a guy that also had a pretty serious injury last year, right?
Yeah.
When he had to drop the title, allegedly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that guy's had his share of health issues that he's had to overcome.
Was that when he came back to L.A. and did his promo there when you were there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had that fake title with him or whatever it was.
El Phantasmo, what do you give him?
El Phantasmo, first time in the tournament. He's no longer a junior officially, it sounds like. Yeah, I give the guy a solid B+. I enjoyed a lot of the match. I enjoyed almost every match he was in. The Shingo match, he got a nice win over Shingo, right? Mm-hmm. The Ospreay match was really good. The Juice Robinson match was a little silly comedy.
The Finlay match was really good.
The Finlay match was really good. I mean, this guy has...
Pretty good.
Yoshihashi was really good, too.
And I agree with you. I agree with you. About a B+. Stepping it up.
And he has a real babyface moveset when they're ready to switch him.
Well, the thing I loved about El Phantasmo is that the things people worried about is that he would continue his comedy gimmick kind of into the G1. And guess what? It all disappeared. He was a serious wrestler. He took these matches seriously in character, right? Like, did a good job on commentary, too.
I was going to say a little extra credit for commentary for some of these guys.
And a lot of them are going to get that extra credit. Absolutely. If you speak English and you are on commentary, we're talking guys like Chase Owens. He was okay. Tom Lawler
was fantastic. Jonah was a natural.
Jonah. Great commentary. And then the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, did a little good commentary, too. So
he was solid.
El Phantasmo, real good stuff. I liked it. Shingo, I'm gonna give him probably an A- B+. I mean, he is Shingo. It's a little bit of booking in that he lost a few matches, but Shingo's also up there for one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, B+ for sure. I think it's just, the booking of where he was placed, kind of middle of the pack, compared to where he was last year carrying the company, But this is a guy that, he's almost could fill that Ishii role of just, you're going to get solid efforts every night.
Yeah.
And yes, one of the best in the world.
Yeah,
too.
if you're going up against Shingo, it's just like, and that was a little bit of a thing about this tournament is a lot of the like C-level wrestlers they didn't put them together in blocks, and so most of the matches were pretty interesting. I'm talking about C-level wrestlers, and I will say the level C, I give Yujiro Takahashi a C. He was there, he did his thing, he got 6 points. Nothing was super crazy. He had good matches with good wrestlers, but he kind of just did his thing.
I mean, that's just a guy who, they had that, actually the match with, I was going to say about El Phantasmo. The Juice match I know people didn't really like the ending where he threw the chair at him and there was an actual DQ, but it was different, and it made sense when you thought about it. And then you had the whole Peter thing with
with El Phantasmo?
With Yujiro.
That was pretty
kind of fun,
yeah.
too.
He's like, you get a night with
Yujiro's
Peter
one of those
if you beat
guys. I don't even think in his... Oh, excuse me. He's in his, early 40s?
Yeah.
40, 41. I don't even know if this guy 10 years ago would be tearing it up in this tournament either. So, he's better off being a corner guy for somebody next year, whether that's Evil or Show or whatever. But I think it's time to run someone else in that spot. You had 28 guys this year, so maybe they had to use him this time.
Yeah.
But if they go to 20 next year, there's no way that he can be in the tournament again.
Fucking throw in Carl Fredericks. Oh, wait, he doesn't. He doesn't work.
That's not happening. Yeah.
Okay, David Finlay, give a B+. David Finlay kicked ass this tournament and really showed off a lot of his stuff.
I mean, I wasn't really a fan of the whole like, I have the belt, you have the belt.
That was a little
thing.
weird. Weird booking.
Well, I thought it was stupid because that was Will's thing with the title, so why would he? I don't know. But I do like we're seeing a little more of a some fire from Finlay.
I thought he had some great matches versus El Phantasmo.
Yeah, but now you can see there's a little bit of edge he's got to him. He's more, he's not just kind of, I guess in a way the Happy Beers thing is kind of gone now.
Yeah. What do you give Juice?
I would say Juice is one of the most disappointing, and it's not really his fault. I think the character itself is worked really well in terms of presentation. He looks great. The promos he was giving going in were amazing. That's where all the disappointment comes from. I thought this was a guy that was going to make a bigger run, so I'd have to give him a C-.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not really his fault.
Yeah, I thought he was good in the Shingo match. The end was weird. I still didn't mind it. A lot of people were like, oh, it bothered me. But no. But after that, it just didn't. It wasn't clicking the way that it did there. So we'll see.
I just think it was a disappointment in terms of his results. And
it's true. He got
they
4
really hyped
points,
him up.
And sometimes it's hard to separate the booking from the performance when you're only given 2-minute matches all the time.
I mean, what would happen if he didn't have that appendicitis, and why couldn't they wait a month for him to come back? These guys have the titles and they only defend them once every 6-8 months anyway. Like Carl Anderson hasn't defended that never open weight title. He hasn't even been in Japan.
Well, I want to add something else to that. Did you see his title on the G1 finals? Did you see what happened there?
I saw that he put like some kind of Bullet Club sock over
Yeah,
it
so
or
some
something.
people have come to the conclusion through the shape of the belt that that's not even the never open weight title.
Well, like he lost it or
there's something like he might have forgot to bring it to Japan because he wasn't challenging for it. So I think
that's what I'm saying. Like, why do you strip Juice of the title in a kayfabe sense when you got a guy that?
I think if you have to challenge for a title and you're sick, then that's what happens.
Huh.
Right?
Whatever. Yeah. I don't get it. But I just think Juice's booking since that moment hasn't been, hasn't been up to par with the work he's done on that character.
Well, we'll see when him and Yujiro are in the tag team tournament coming up next month.
Oh boy.
Yoshihashi. I give Yoshihashi an A this tournament. He fucking killed it, bro. What the fuck happened?
He was probably the unsung hero of the tournament. I mean, the guy's turned himself into one of the most lethal strikers. He's got arguably the hardest lariat in the business.
Did it take this long? That's what confuses me. It's like, what happened, bro? Like, I'm saying, like, did something click? Or was it the block that he was in, I don't know.
I mean, he's been kind of going at a pretty high level, really since Chaos was running around with those with the 6-man
Well, and
belts.
he was pretty good with Goto as well, right?
Right. Well, that was after. Yeah. But when him and was it Ishii and Goto were kind of running things on the B shows and main eventing with the never open 6-man belts, I think that's when he really started to come into his own.
Yeah. What do you give him this tourney? I think he did amazing.
Yeah, I give him an A.
Especially when you talk about improvement, like that factors in. All right, that's
Absolutely.
Block D. This was a big tournament, by the way. I'm ready to head back to 20 people. Are you?
No, I would go to 40 next year and do 4 groups of 10.
Or how about 2 groups of 20? I'm definitely ready to go back to an A and B block, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you could do 15, or I don't know. So I don't want to give these guys any more matches than 9, right? So I could, let's see, what was it? I could go to 32 and keep 4 blocks. I would just, make the schedule a little more predictable. I don't know. I felt like there were some guys who were going back to back, and then there was other guys that didn't have a match.
It was very sporadic, like who was gonna wrestle, and it was kind of confusing. If you had your favorite, you'd be like, "Oh wait, he wrestles in 2 weeks." It's like, what the fuck happened?
But like the universe we have now, I don't feel like 20 is enough.
Well, we'll see about AEW.
Unless you
and
have
stuff, right?
unless you have like an AEW like play-in bracket. Or if you have the winner of the Owen Hart, if you have some type of checkpoints where guys get into the tournament rather than, I don't know. I just feel like 20 is not enough when you talk about the universe getting bigger.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of. I think 20 is okay because it's like the best of the best.
Yeah, but that's where you got to get rid of Yujiro. You got to get rid of Fale.
Do you get rid of Hanare? And that's where we're moving to next is the Block C. So let's talk about Hanare. I think Hanare did good and well, and I'm going to give him a C+. He's still working. He's still learning the ropes, no pun intended. Great striker.
No, I would give him a solid B.
You give him a B?
I give him a B.
Talk about what you saw
there.
about him in the tournament this year.
Just like the presentation, the personality, he's worked hard with the character, he's bulked up, and the strikes, the kicks, kind of incorporating kind of a Muay Thai element. Obviously, he's not going to, get his hand raised too often, so, you have to kind of consider going in, he's not going to get his hand raised too often, but beat Tanahashi, which I thought was great to open the tournament, and very fitting because kind of, Tana had him under his wing for a while. They did a World Tag League together and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not solid B. You beat Tanahashi in a tournament. That's nothing to sneeze at, no matter what happens the rest of the way.
And I agree. Really cool stuff. Moving on to who he beat, Tanahashi. Someone who's generally always good. I think it's hard to say this tournament. Let me look at his match. No, actually, Tanahashi did pretty damn good this tournament. Zack Sabre, Hiroki Goto, that was an amazing match too.
But with Tana, I'd give Tana a B. B+.
And what's keeping him from being at his normal level?
I mean, maybe just not the he kind of faded down the stretch, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I think I'd give him an A minus. Like, some of those matches were so good.
He's amazing.
As always. But you can definitely see just like Ishii, you can see the physical issues going on. When the dude runs the ropes, it's hard.
Or just walking into the ring, the knees are bad. But then you see him like freaking, launch himself up for the high fly flow so quickly, and you're like, where does that come from?
Yeah, I think he did less of those this tournament too. Right?
Yeah, he did. I don't think he beat a guy with the high fly flow in the tournament.
My headphone fell off 1 second here. All right, so yeah, I agree. Hiroshi Tanahashi, good, not great. That might be a booking thing. Hiroki Goto.
Goto, yeah, B minus.
Yeah.
The Naito match was good. He had that nice little early run. His story and everything was pretty entertaining and well told. So yeah, B minus.
Yeah, I'm about on there with you now. Kenta, I saw his match. A few of his matches were really good. I missed his match with Tanahashi. Did you see that one?
Oh, it was great. I give Kenta A minus. I thought he was great. I love the book promotion stuff he was doing. Very, very entertaining. For the fact that the guy was out for 6 months.
I know.
Still has the scars on his back.
Yeah.
Hip dislocation, and he returns 6 months later or whatever it is to be in the G1. I mean, it's not like they eased him back at all. He had a few tag matches on the Road 2 shows, and they threw him right in the fire to be in the G1. I mean, give the guy all the credit in the world, man.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty incredible, and I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like he's like, his striking game is getting to the point of like close to not being safe in a way. Like, he's really going back to that Noah style of just slapping the fuck out of people. The few matches I saw of him, I mean, he was with Zach, dude. He was like hitting people to the point of like concussing them, which is very impressive.
Yeah,
at the same time, it's like, Jesus Christ.
He's definitely got himself in better shape since he, joined the company. But I feel like he feels like for him to get any run, I mean, he's going to be a middle of the pack guy. He's going to be a mid-carder.
You know what?
So I'm
happy for Kenta. He went through so many injuries that could be like career-ending. It's kind of the way I'm thinking about that girl in AEW right now, Chris Statlander, right? It's like they went through so many stuff. This girl's going through another 6-7 month recovery. Did you hear about that?
Jeez. No.
I think it was her other leg. Like,
I know she tore her ACL.
Yeah,
before.
And now I think she like did something similar on the other leg. But you just hope that these people can continue.
But with Kenta, I mean, the way he's going now, like, he could maybe sneak a New Japan Cup win next year.
And he's going to be the type
of, not out of the question.
He's going to be the type of dude kind of like a, he's going to be able to win a never. He's going to be able to sneak in a New Japan Cup maybe. He'll be able to definitely win never open weight. So we'll see what happens there. He could do a tag team too. Who knows? Evil in his current position, I can never really give great ratings to. I'm going to give him a C because he does only about 4/5 of the work. His homies help him out a lot. Not even in kayfabe, like in real life, like they're doing a lot of the work.
I give him a C+ because it's been better. His stuff has been better than it was at first. I know people feel like there's an Evil push coming, but I just don't. God. I just don't. I don't.
God, I was just thinking the other day about when Naito lost to Evil and how shocked all of us were.
Yeah, I think he's a mid-card heel for life.
Yeah, right where he belongs. ZSJ, I give an A. Zach is just one of the best wrestlers in the company at this point. I don't know if he's going to be pushed. I mean, he won the New Japan Cup. He just kills it in all these matches he had. His match with Naito was 40 seconds and amazing. He had
Absolutely. His tantrum was great.
Yeah.
And let's just get him and Bryan Danielson for Wrestle Kingdom already.
Let's just get it done. Yeah, we'll see. It'd be a safe match too. And that's one of the things I like about Zach is generally a safe wrestler, but very, very, very exciting. You never know when he's going to win. You never know what's going to happen. So,
yeah, great promo.
Great promo. Everyone's a dickhead. Naito, I think also just killed it. Like, this dude is so different from when he was a few years ago when he was like limping and had like a disfigured arm and something. Like, he looks great and he is so fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible when you see the guy perform at top speed still. I know he's got some bad knees because one of the things we were talking about when we talk about Tom Lawler later was the commentary where he's like, hey, you notice that he wears braces or bandages underneath his knee pads. He's got like ace bandages or something, so he's got some wobbly knees, and plus he had that thing with his vision.
He did, yeah.
Right? He had the double vision.
Something similar to what Kenny Omega had, yeah.
Yeah, not vertigo necessarily. I think he just had some double vision or something. And and he's a guy that's 40, but when I see him out there,
it's hard to tell. He just goes.
He could still win a tournament, and he just goes, and it's just he's still very entertaining. And all that stuff.
Not only is Naito like just back to where he was as far as speed goes, and he's probably one of the fastest wrestlers. He's one of the fastest heavyweights, which is crazy at his age, but also his charisma is off the chains. Like,
yeah, still he could still be the champ there, and no one will say anything.
Yeah, great. His match with Will Ospreay was fucking incredible.
What an amazing stretch at one point. It was towards the beat, just the two of them. That was the first time we saw that. It was the first
time,
right?
And I'll tell you, when I saw that Stormbreaker into the Destino, I popped, man. Oh, wow.
That was great.
That was like, I was just
Absolutely
like,
great.
What? I just like, what the fuck? I was shocked.
You could tell that the two of them were just, enjoying doing that.
They were ready to go. It was awesome. B Block, Tai Chi. What did you think?
Well, Tai Chi, I love Tai Chi. But I'd probably have to go C plus B minus. He obviously wasn't going to win the tournament or be kind of the favorite in any spot over this year. So he's another guy that's probably like mid card.
Yeah.
Lower mid card, kind of KOPW, maybe never open
tag
weight
titles here
and
there
thing for him. Yeah, I really wish they had that Intercontinental title back. They could really use that right now.
Yeah.
A guy like
that's the never open. That's really the never open weight title now, bro.
I know, but
you're like, yeah, I know, but Carl Anderson would never get the.
But I did like this. I'm gonna go with a B minus because I love the sumo stuff he was doing.
I love the sumo stuff he was doing. I give him a B. Pretty much we're splitting hairs here. His match with the Great Okan was experimental in the sense that they just did a sumo/judo match for the first fucking 10 minutes. They just tried to throw each other.
Yeah.
And
yeah, kind of, in a different way, but it reminded me of when him and Ibushi just kicked each other
exactly.
in the
it reminded me of that. It reminded me of Suzuki and who am I thinking of? Hiromu, when they both just slapped each other in the chest over
New Japan Cup.
Yeah. So good performance, interesting matches. Okan, what do you think?
Okan's another guy that I was a little in the Juice Robinson way. I was a little disappointed because I love the Great Okan. I believe he deserves better than he's getting right now, and I think eventually the time will come for him because he's not even 30 yet, right?
Yeah, definitely improving. I got in an argument on the internet, of course, like we always do, right? We try to avoid, but I said that I thought Chase Owens was better than Okan, and I got yelled at for that. So
Chase Owens is really good. I like the Great Okan a lot better than I like Chase Owens for almost every possible scenario. but I do think at this point, like, Chase Owens is probably a little better in the ring.
That's exactly. Yeah, Great-O-Khan has a better character, more charisma. He's interesting, but Chase Owens can put together a match a little better. I give him probably a B+, Chase Owens. I think that he had some great matches, especially against Ishii. Yeah, big surprise there. But
yeah, B- for Great-O-Khan, and I would give Chase a B. Listen, like, I know people talk about Chase Owens and all that, and he maybe is a little bit of a, something in real life, I don't know, whatever. But listen, if the guy is a Western guy that looks like how he looks, there's no way he'd be there if he couldn't wrestle.
No, what do
right?
you say, like, that he has, like, sexual allegations? Is that what you mean by real life? Okay.
I think so. I mean, allegedly.
Well, I've heard a
kind of a
few
jerk,
people
but I don't
mention
know that,
it
but
on the internet, but I've never...
Yeah. You know what? I try not to dive into that stuff when I hear about it. I'm just like, okay, there's just another guy that might have done some
A lot of that
terrible
stuff
things.
takes care of itself,
But
if they are really fucking up.
I
But
don't know.
I guess not. Let's not get too into it.
But anyways, bottom line is the dude is he did good commentary as well, so a little extra credit. But no, the guy's a really, really good wrestler, and yeah, I love Great-O-Khan overall, way better than him. But you'd be lying if you didn't think that he's a better wrestler.
And that's what I meant to say.
Wrestler than not he probably will be better than Chase pretty soon.
Oh yeah,
a year or
dude.
two.
Yeah.
But at this point right now,
Chase
has
has been in New Japan for years and years too. So
I own a Great-O-Khan shirt. I'm not buying a Chase.
I
Owens
agree.
shirt,
I'm a bigger fan of O'Khan.
You know what I mean?
But
Yeah.
You just have to look at the facts. Sonata, I think Sonata did well. Sonata's a plus or minus guy. He's either great or okay usually. I think he did pretty well this tournament. Give him a B.
B-, C+. I mean, he's just he had a really good. What was his opening match? Because I think that was really good. Can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, I'm trying to look here. I'm not sure if it was.
I remember him getting off to a really good start, but just kind of being that kind of vanilla,
Same old.
default wrestler. Default. You go to creative mode and he's the default kind of guy
with the big hair. No, I agree. Didn't really stand out a ton. Did the job when he had to, and did the job when he had to win. No, like, wrestling pun. Like, he did his work. He did well. But it was nothing like crazy. Had some good counters. It's Sonata. What do you expect? Jay White. I give Jay White probably. I don't know, man. Jay White seemed to get better and better. Fuck. That's a hard one.
Jay White gets an A, man.
I was thinking A-.
I feel like
A.
I would say A. I thought he was going to go through that tournament undefeated and win it. Or at least get to the final, and go against Naito or something like that. But it's just wait, who did? Oh, he lost to Tama Tonga. That's right. And
we'll talk about him soon. But Jay White is just like still improving. He's still learning, but getting better. He's been good for years, but he's really learning this character of when to play the
not even 30.
Jump out of the ring, jump back in. When he's going to have his partner cheat. Ghetto, and just like the dynamics of Jay White, it's getting better and better, and he is such a great wrestler.
I really, really liked the Chase Owens match because Chase Owens, like we said, he's a really good performer in the ring. He has good timing. He's got pretty good character work. I didn't really like the Miho Abe kiss me thing. I thought that was a little creepy, but the match he had with Jay, I thought was great.
Oh yeah,
for what it was with the setup, and then they actually had a real match. I think I think Chase has a really good mind for it, and Jay does too. And that was case in point there. So I definitely give him an A. He's a guy. I think he'll have a title defense on the way.
Well, he will.
He's probably going to be.
We know who his title defense is going to be against first, and so let's move on to that.
Yeah,
Tama Tonga. I think he killed it in this tournament. I would also give him an A. It's his first serious babyface singles run. It's weird seeing him as a babyface, but he knows what he's doing, man. He's a wrestler. He's a pro wrestler. He's good at it. And he really turned it on this tournament.
This is about as close as I'm going to get to an A+, because I thought he was, I'm a tough grader, but he's going to get a solid A, 96% or whatever. I mean, he was great. I mean, coming in to be a baby face, even with the way Jado was brought in and helped him a few times, and even the gear, the haircut, the beard, everything just looked great. The guy's probably in the best shape of his life, and this is another guy that's about 40 years old.
Yeah, right? And he's starting as a baby face all of a sudden. And just looks greatly physically great.
And another guy that we could really use that IC title back for.
Put the never openweight title on him. We'll just call it that.
Well, I guess you have to go. He unserious. He deserved better with that title.
No, he did great. He did great in the semis. He did awesome in his block. Won a lot of matches and really showed us that, hey, you put him heel, you put him baby, it really doesn't matter. Like, he's going to perform. In fact, he looks even better as a babyface now, and he's not doing tag team stuff. He looks better than his last few years in the G1. So, when he did perform.
It's just it's just such a fresh coat of paint with him, right? Like, 3 years ago, he had one of the worst G1s where he was cheating and getting
yeah.
It was
I remember
the
that.
most scummy run you've ever seen.
And now it's like he's got all these new moves. He's like doing the Supreme Flow, which is a cool little nod to Tanahashi.
And the gun stun, the use of the gun stun. Even I can't remember who was saying it, but hey, it's a very difficult move to hit. So he knows once he hits it, it's over. Like, I love the psychology he's using.
The gun
now
stuns
as well.
against Okada, which he wasn't able to hit, were just such big moments. Like, he threw up his body for the gun stun. Okada caught him over and over, and just like such a great moment. You said maybe an A+ for Tama Tonga. I am going to give an A+ to someone who did not do good in the tournament, and that is Tomohiro Ishii. I think Tomohiro Ishii is underrated, even though people consider him one of the best wrestlers in the world. This dude just has great matches no matter what. God, he made a lot of these matches amazing. Jay White, Chase Owens.
The rumor is that this is his last tournament. Like, why is he the one on the chopping block? Like, I don't understand. Let this guy go until he can't do it anymore.
Dude, we don't know what's going on with his body. We don't know what he wants.
Or he might have he could be a walking CTE.
Dude,
case,
Ishii, dude, who knows? Who knows what he wants? Because you have someone like Suzuki that could probably kick ass in this tournament, and he's not there. And Ishii...
Well, I don't think Suzuki wants anything to do with it anymore. He's got his thing going. He's always been kind of
he can come to America and make $20,000.
Yeah, and just give forearms for 10 minutes,
So what do you rate Ishii this tournament, by the way?
I would give him an A. I would give him an A, but I just want to hear that talk snuffed out about him being his last tournament. Why? You're going to let Fale and, Yujiro go out there again? Come on.
For every person that goes away, there's someone that has to replace them, man. And if whoever that is, we hope it's better. But Ishii is a once in a... He's kind of a once in a generation type of guy like Tanahashi. They're lucky they got him. He's not a New Japan original.
He's the club of New Japan, right? You got the ace, he's the club.
There you go. He is the club.
Or the heart. Let's go the heart of New Japan.
Well, that's Okada. He's the
like
diamond
measuring stick guy, If somebody can't have a good match with Ishii, then you get rid of him.
Well,
right?
If you can't have a good match with Ishii, that's a tough one. But just I've heard people after this G1 talking about he should be in the Observer Hall of Fame now. He's never really been voted in, and he was never that big of a deal. But the quality of wrestling is just stupid. So
I mean, yeah. I mean, in a way, it's like you mentioned him with all those guys never to hold world titles, like Kurt Hennig, Scott Hall. He's kind of this generation's version of that.
For New Japan, for sure. I mean,
yeah.
Little too much too late. I hate to say it, but 5'5" or whatever the fuck his height is. Have you stood next to him, bro?
5'7". He's about 5'7".
Have you stood next to him?
Well, at least Evil never held the title. No, I haven't stood next to him. What was I in line with him at In-N-Out or something?
I know what the dude.
I mean, I've seen him in person.
Wrestlers. Stop.
He was in the ring. Not really.
Okay, well, you got a picture of you and Great Okan.
Oh well, that's true. He's tall. He's like 6'2". I'm 6 feet, and he's about 6'2".
When Ishii comes to California, take a picture with him. Spend $100.
Okay, who's big? Then let's do next. Okay. Well, Luchasaurus is really tall and physically imposing. And Brian Cage is like 5'9".
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. And how tall is Toru Yano?
I haven't been that close to him. I was probably 50 feet away from him, sitting in my seat.
In Japan.
In Japan.
And what do you rate him this tournament? Block A, Toru Yano. I give the dude a D. I think he sucks. I think he had a few matches. I can't give him a
D. I think he was a little different. I give him a C+ because the Tom Lawler match was really fun. The Lance Archer match was really fun. The Jeff Cobb with his arms in the singlet. He had some memorable angles that weren't a bunch of recycled stuff this year, so it wasn't a bunch of retreads.
You talk about Ishii leaving the G1. We need to replace Toru Yano with another Joker that's better than him. I think we should put... Dude, here's what we should do.
Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana would be a good one. I think Master Wato should become a comedy wrestler, heavyweight. And we should...
Or Aguchi should take him under his wing.
Dude, that's what needs to happen. Toru Yano needs to take...
Are they... Who are the junior tag champs right now?
Fucking no one knows,
still them?
Dude. Who is it? Are you looking it up? No one knows that.
No, I'm looking to the right of me and trying to think.
No, I got that in about 3 seconds.
Who are the junior tag champs?
Okay, so the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Champs right now are the TJP and Francisco Akira.
Oh.
And do you remember when they won?
Right, because they beat those guys. They beat Team 6ix9ine or whatever.
Taguchi and Master Wato.
Yeah. Well deserved. They just haven't been over for a while.
4-time champions Geto and Gato hold the record at combined days, by the way. 960.
See, told you Geto was a junior, so there you go. Ishimori and
But do you know who's
Geto.
won the junior tag team titles the most? It's not a hard guess. Think the best tag team in the world, possibly.
Oh, the best tag team in the world?
Yeah.
Oh, the Young Bucks?
Yeah. Okay. So, Toru Yano, you think he had his place there?
Yeah. I've always been more of a Toru Yano sympathizer than you.
Let's just say simp.
So,
you're a Toru Yano simp.
No. But no. Seriously, though, I think he sometimes he can get repetitive. But I think he added some fresh stuff that kept him on the tolerable side, and he's the change of pace, though. Like, if you're talking from a kayfabe sense, he's beating everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, actually.
It's not like Yujiro's not going to beat anybody, but he's beaten Naito, he's beaten Jon Moxley. I mean, he's got some solid wins under his belt.
He did beat Jon Moxley, and I rewatched the promo afterwards recently. He says, "I got Yano'd."
Good stuff. And yeah, the Jeff Cobb hitting a drop kick with his arms in his singlet. I don't understand how he got his arms out of that thing. Still, and unbelievable, right? I mean, I enjoyed it, and the Sister Act 1 and 2. How do you not take that deal, right?
Did he stuff his hands into the singlet? I don't think I saw that one.
He put his arms in. He somehow got Jeff Cobb to put his arms in his own singlet, and then try to tie him up with the ring apron, and then he got back in the ring with his arms in his singlet still, finally got it out, but he did a drop kick with his arms in a singlet, and Chris Charlton was awesome when talking about how it, puts Orange Cassidy to shame or something like that.
Wow, okay. Didn't see that one. Sounds pretty cool.
So the Lance Archer match I thought was pretty entertaining. He tried to fight. He tried to be the murder guy again against Okada. Like, I thought he brought some different stuff to it, and he's a change of pace, like I said. Like,
well, he did beat Jonah, right? So
he beat Jonah.
Very special moment for him.
So there you go. You can't give the guy a D. I mean, come on. He added some different angles to it, so he's C plus B minus.
Yeah, let's move
C
on
plus.
from him.
Yeah. No, it's irrational. It's irrational. No, I know there's a lot of people that don't like it. I understand it.
And
I get it.
You're talking to us right now. So Okada definitely gets an A from me. I mean, he won the tournament. He had great matches, one after another. I thought his match with Jonah was incredible.
And he just really made Jonah look like $2 billion.
I think, for sure, with that win. But not only that, a lot of people just went all out. Archer went all out against Okada. That was when he did all his
you could
crazy
tell how
stuff.
much he appreciated being there. Another guy, that dude's like 45 years old,
and he's doing his old school times 10, which is way cooler than The Undertaker ever did. He had a great match against Lawler. I thought it was an awesome match.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's Okada, dude. What can you expect? He's back hitting his stride once again.
Yeah, I mean, best in the world right now, right?
Yeah, we'll see about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's story coming up in the, but definitely not only one of the best in the world, but one of the he's lasting a long time at being one of the best wrestlers in the world too. Like, I remember when he was 28, and he's not 28 anymore, and he's still kicking ass.
Well, he's probably in his center of his prime. He's 33 years old, so he still has a good 7-8 years left of prime work.
And he's a safe worker in general too, so he might be able to push it.
No, it doesn't. I mean, the only time he leaves the ground really is when he does the elbow and the drop kick.
Yeah, he does a splash.
He doesn't do crazy stuff to the outside. He doesn't do anything crazy outside the ring.
Doesn't do dives.
Pretty grounded guy.
His most risky move is the jump over the rail, and he only does that once a year.
Yes. Right. And it's a drop kick, so usually he can get his arms down.
No, not a drop kick. He throws them over the railing and then splashes them over the railing.
Oh yeah, but he gets someone to catch him at least.
Yeah. All right, Bad Luck Fale. What'd you think? Go ahead, tell us.
That's the guy I'm going to give a D to. I love Fale. I love watching the what do you call it? The New Zealand dojo show and all that stuff. And I love his TikTok stuff and all that. But, I mean, there's a guy that we just don't need out there anymore, man. You can tell. I mean...
Yeah, it's a tough one.
He's got the tucked-in T-shirt. He looks like... It's just not... I just don't think he needs to be out there.
So this was the monster block, right? And he was probably the worst monster of all. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather see Toru Yano 1,000 times than Fale at this point. Not to say Fale can't be a heater for somebody. I don't know. Maybe you have him run out there with El Phantasmo.
Yeah, but, he already played that role years ago, too. And it's just God, again.
Well, do it again. But I'm just saying, I know he's really important to the company because I don't really see him. This should probably be his last G1, to be honest.
So I get what you're saying. Why is this Ishii's last G1 when he's kicking fucking ass and Fale might have another year? I agree with you on that.
We're not hearing that talk about guys like Fale and and Yujiro. But we're hearing about guys like Ishii. Unless he's got some kind of serious health issue that we don't know about, why is that even being talked about?
I agree with you. I give him about a D. I give him the same as Toru Yano. It's we love every wrestler. Justin and I do. We're not just
we
gonna
do.
say someone sucks or anything. We don't wrestle. We love Bad Luck Fale, but we're comparing him.
If we saw him on the street, we'd want to take a picture with him and talk to him. Like, we'd work out.
We love all these guys for the most part. I'm not a huge fan of some wrestlers, but I would still shake their hand. What did you think? Actually, I'll give my opinion on this one. I'm gonna say Lance Archer gets I'm gonna give him a straight up B. Lance Archer came in. He's an AEW wrestler now. He is not a New Japan wrestler, and he fit right back in to his role. What a lot of people don't realize about Lance Archer is in the history of New Japan is he wasn't that big of a deal for many years. Really, it was his New Japan Cup match with Ospreay that really put him really on the map. Before that, he'd spent a lot of time in Noah when New Japan invaded them, and he was not a big deal, really. But since that Ospreay match, he's really stepped it up. He got a job in AEW. He's been in the G1 a few times, and I feel like he really did it well this year. He protected himself. He did his big shit at the end when he was going to lose. I think he did great. What do you think?
It was one of those cases of, you can't come home again, but I felt like he really appreciated being there, and you can tell he really soaked it in.
It was like being back at home for him,
this
dude.
time.
It really was.
Yeah, so it was a homecoming.
The only thing is he couldn't scare children.
I can even see him That's true. Wow, we're not there yet.
Well, we'll wait till September.
But, he can only scare children in a certain section.
What do you give Lance for this tournament, Justin?
Yeah. Give him a B+. And you can, all the guys, they just felt this level of, appreciation for being there, especially with the outside guys, like Jonah, and it made it feel
I want
to
add that Jonah is signed to New Japan. You can tell
they really appreciate him. Well, he's going to be back, because I know we'll talk about it maybe after we cover Lawler and Jonah. But let's carry on to that.
The only outside guy, let's see, is Lance Archer. I think that's the only truly outside talent they had. New Japan Strong is part of New Japan, but, obviously things have changed.
True.
I've heard a lot of... Now, here's the thing I want to state. I've heard a lot of people saying, you've seen Lance Archer in the G1. What's your hand, Tony Khan? And my thought is dude, Lance Archer probably makes bank doing wrestling once a month for AEW, and I'm pretty sure he's cool with that. What do you think about that?
No, he'll go back to where he was.
He's a gateway guy. Yeah,
kind of
I don't think that's a bad position.
Kind of like. No. It's kind of like what Nyla Rose is for their women's division. So if you're the champ, it's one of your challengers, or if you're up and coming to getting a push, you got to go through the monster. At some point. He's a mid-level boss. And he has good matches in
AEW too. His match with Hangman for the title, which they did a Texas Death Match, that was great, dude.
Yeah, and for a guy like his age and his kind of build. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and wrestle 250 times a year.
Probably gets to hang out with his kids and family in Texas most of the year and gets paid. So
right. It's probably the only reason why he didn't just re-sign with New Japan is because he wanted to spend more time here. Had he known about the expansion they were doing out here and how New Japan Strong came along basically because of the pandemic, he might have made a different decision.
He's also probably making good money in AEW either way.
Yeah.
So, you want to talk about Jonah?
Jonah, man, that's another guy that gets close to an A+, man. Let's give him an A.
Yeah. Bronson Reed.
Breakout performance. Bronson Reed.
Did you watch his stuff as Bronson Reed? It was good, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
It's funny, though.
At first, I'm like, who is this guy? But then he won me over, for sure. It's funny, though,
because they were doing, obviously that PWG style and NXT at that point, and he fit in well there. But little did we know that this dude can do that New Japan one-on-one style just as good as anybody.
I mean, yeah, and the character work he was doing, the mask, he comes out, the music. just worked perfectly, and the fans loved him. They see that guy, and instantly right away they're in love with him.
Yeah.
And he got over really
Huge
big
with the fans. And as we said before, this guy, he was getting some of the biggest crowd reactions. I mean, just in person, seeing this big, huge dude get on the top rope, of course, you're like, oh, and hitting that torpedo.
Well, it arguably, actually, I don't even think it's an argument. I think it's definitely the biggest moment of the tournament was him beating Okada. And
Well,
going
besides
up to
the
that splash.
finals.
Besides the finals, but I mean, that was the most memorable, impact moment, right?
That was just a shocker and kind of a stamp for Jonah to say, I'm here and I'm going to do this. And he's probably earned a briefcase match. Yeah,
Briefcase.
from that.
Sure.
And I don't think we clarified this, but Jay White's going to probably go against Tama Tonga real soon as well.
Right,
Yeah.
little filler title shot, and well deserved. And
It'll be
a great match.
I'm super excited about it. I agree with you. Jonah kicked ass. I'm going to talk a little about Tom Lawler. Now, full disclosure, I've been listening to Tom Lawler on the F4W Figure Wrestling Observer Radio for multiple years. So to find out that this guy was in the G1 was a little crazy. I was way more entertained in the G1 than I was by his New Japan Strong stuff. I like him as a babyface. He's funny. He's really funny, like legitimately funny, as opposed to like doing, crotch hits on a guy and stuff. He's bringing out Sister Act.
Right.
Yeah, he's bringing out Sister Act DVDs. And he wrestled really well, this technical wrestler that kind of has his thing. And by the way, shout outs to, we didn't shout out Royce Isaacs and Bad Dude Tito. They did really well.
They were great, and I think they got over just as much. And World Tag League, why not?
Yeah.
Both those teams.
I could see that. And I was especially...
Bad Dude Tito, people were... And I love even, Royce Isaacs too, and they were just... The fact they were getting over with the Japanese culture, not to the level a guy like Alex Zane was, and Ace Austin were doing it, but pretty damn close.
What's funny about them and this podcast? Do you know where Bad Dude Tito's from?
Well, I know that he's
kind
of a
where
SoCal
Royce Isaacs
guy.
is from. There you go.
Colorado. But he's a SoCal guy too.
He
but he's
wrestled
from Colorado,
in Denver. He's from there, yeah.
Rocky Mountain Pro.
So we got a Colorado / SoCal podcast here, so we got to support our guys. Especially Bad Dude Tito.
Yeah.
Like you said,
he looks like a Poffo.
Looks like a Poffo. At the same time, he looks like a early AJPW guy to me. Like almost like a Dr. Death a little bit.
Little like Rhino-ish, like a Rhino and Macho Man kind of look. Like the beard and everything, he looks like he can be in the Poffo family, right?
Tito Escondido, right? Is he?
Oh, it's great.
Is he like a Mexican
Bad dude? Tito? I don't know. You know what? I think he's Panamanian.
He's got a real unique look, though. Like you said, the Poffo, the big cheeks, kind of the muscle body,
and the beard. I mean, I think Japan just likes the complete opposite of them, right? Jonah, this big, Australian dude, and then Bad Dude Tito. I mean, what a great name too. I mean, there's just a lot going on there for TMYK, right?
TMDK.
The Mighty Don't Kneel.
Yeah.
TMDK.
Yeah,
right?
it's really cool, man. I liked both of their sidekicks. They did good on the undercard matches, and these are two guys that are also like shit. Maybe I could be in the G1 one day. So you keep working on strong, and you get over, and we'll see what happens.
Could you imagine, though, you're Royce Isaacs and Bad Dude Tito. You get this nice trip to Japan. You get paid. You don't have to do any of these like grueling singles matches. It's just
you get to be on the bus. You get to be on the backup quarterback. You know what they said? Okay, so this is what this is funny. This is what Lawler said, right? He said this is kind of fucked up, but it's what he said. He said so they would give bentos to all the talent, right? But for the American talent, they would include a Big Mac.
All right.
It's like just because they're American, they get a Big Mac, right?
Yeah. And Tom Lawler was fantastic on commentary, especially
That's
with
what
the
everyone
verbiage
said.
and the
I don't
knowledge.
think I heard that one, but everyone said that Tom Lawler just was amazing on commentary.
Very, really reminded me of, where Don Callis or even, Taz will get descriptive about, why he's putting the, very knowledgeable about, the maneuvers and the, why he's putting
And
pressure
why
on
this
that
part
part of his
hurts.
body. And
Caprice Coleman
and
does a
he's-
great job of that as well.
Yeah, and he's like an MMA historian and kind of pro wrestling historian, so he's just very knowledgeable. I don't know if you get any of that out of listening to him on the podcast, but he knows his stuff. He knows his history and stuff.
I don't think enough wrestlers realize how important commentary is as a skill for them, too. I mean, yes, some wrestlers will never do that. You're not going to hear Hulk Hogan on commentary too often, but nowadays, in the modern world, you can transition into that, and so it's another skill. I mean, you remember CM Punk back in the day. I'm the best at wrestling in the ring and on commentary, too. It's like...
And you got to give Kevin Kelly credit for working with so many guys and saying, if you can speak English, let's do it. Giving everyone a chance that wants to do it. And I'm sure there's a good reason, but I wonder why Chris Charlton can't
He might have a job.
do commentary
he might have a
anywhere.
day job in Tokyo with New Japan.
But I think he has some kind of important. I don't know what he must be some kind of communications or some kind of role with New Japan. I know he's fluent in everything.
Yeah,
they do, so.
I'm not 100% sure about that. I've talked to him about it, but yeah, I guess this will give our chance.
I don't know what his official title is. If you looked on his LinkedIn, what his title would be in New Japan.
Director of Communications. It's I thought that was Rocky. But, no,
is that
I don't
his
know.
Director of
I
Communications?
I don't know if he has a LinkedIn because he's in Japan. You know what I mean? I could take a look, but I'm sure there's tons of people named Chris Charlton.
I know, it's none of our business necessarily, but he's great. And the way he's come into his own, from being kind of that third guy that would throw in little tidbits with Don Callis to just being a full-fledged, almost damn near can call play-by-play if he wanted to now.
And I guess this is our moment where we have to say that the commentary this year was really great. Whether it be the random guys on the side or just Kevin Kelly, which he did an incredible job this year again. I definitely think last year I was a Tony Schiavone, if you remember. I thought Tony Schiavone was my favorite.
Yeah.
This year I'm really going back to Kevin Kelly again. This guy is just killing it.
No
and
doubt.
I think you voted for Kevin Kelly last year.
I did, and I'm a vote for him again this
Well, he
year.
could fall off, bro. We only got 4 months until the end of the year, right?
I don't see it happening. He can take a knee right now and not do a single thing the rest of the year. He'll still win it.
Okay. Well, they killed it. Chris Charlton, I even mentioned on Twitter that he was great when the wrestlers were walking out. He was yelling the stories out. Kevin, this guy is... Oh. And I mentioned on Twitter, and he responded, he was saying he liked it and stuff because he was so great with the stories on those last couple final matches.
Oh, yes, and as they were happening, the yelling, that's just him being comfortable doing it, could you imagine right now just yelling at the top of your lungs?
I think there's a whole different world there because what I've learned from Kevin Kelly is that you have to speak your normal voice when you announce. Oh, that was great. But, you can, because you'll lose your voice if you yell the whole. So, but then at the end there, you can finally start raising your voice. And so, Jeff Cobb, what'd you think, buddy?
You got a guy who won the first 8-9 matches of the last year, right? So, I don't think anyone was coming and think he was going to win the tournament. So obviously he wasn't going to have as strong of a showing as last year. But the Jonah Beefy match was great. I probably have to give him a B+.
Yeah, I agree. There was something about his, being pushed where, as far as the booking goes, if you put him to win a big match at this point, Cobb's gonna fucking kill it. But he did have a 21-minute match with Okada. That was good. He got beat by Jonah and Lawler in 2 matches that were about 15 minutes.
And this is another guy who, kind of like in that Kenta realm where, like, let's get him to win a New Japan Cup in the next year or two.
Yeah, I'd like to see some push for Cobb.
Not just label, put him in the tag team division.
No, I agree. As a singles wrestler,
even though I love the tag team,
as a singles wrestler, I think he's great. Didn't think he was so great about 3 years ago, but he's definitely great now. And so, yeah, I give him a B. And that might have some stuff to do with the booking. So there, we did all the guys. That was 24 guys. That was
Did we do Lawler?
Tom Lawler.
Did we give him a grade?
I don't know if I gave him a grade, but I gave him like an A-. I think he did awesome.
Oh, for sure. Now, the question I was going to ask you next year, or even the rest of the year, I asked it to the Super J Cast and a few other places. Over under 3 months in 2023. How much time do you see Lawler and Jonah spending in Japan? Proper.
Man.
I see Jonah with
Jonah, I think, is going to spend more time in Japan because of the booking. Lawler, that depends on what we see in New Japan Strong, so I can't be sure on that one. I would bet, like, middle of the line or whatever. But Jonah, definitely.
Yeah, 3 months is what I was thinking for Lawler. Probably the under, if anything, but I do think at some point New Japan Strong is going to do spot stuff in Japan. Maybe New Year's Dash, or you'll have a couple tours of Strong in Cork and Hall.
Oh, that would be cool. And something you mentioned, I don't think they should do this with the G1, but I was thinking about this last night lying in bed, actually, because I'm that much of a wrestling nerd. And I think you had said, like, oh, what if they did the G1 block in America for Strong and then the G1 block? And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I like the idea of doing a double New Japan Cup.
Well, remember they had that G1... They had the Cup USA. Yeah. So they can do a spin-off thing of that would qualify you for the
and
real
same thing
G1.
with the juniors, right?
But I think we all love seeing the announcement for the first time where we know everyone that's in, right? So maybe the more of that's a mystery, the better. I don't know. But there's no reason why you can't have, 2 or 3 spots spoken for out of the 28 or 32, whatever they do next year. 40.
Yeah, we'll see. And then there's a fall show coming up for New Japan Strong. That looks pretty interesting. Shingo's going to be there. Is it in L.A.?
There's one tomorrow.
No, this one's in September that I'm talking about with all the talent, though. So let's see.
I don't know. I think they're doing some. I think they're going to New York.
Oh, they mentioned that.
October.
Yeah, so we should talk about that. They're going to do a show there. And we kind of talked about one night of Wrestle Kingdom already. So
one night of Wrestle Kingdom and then New Year's Dash is
dude, this one
back.
Gets me because I think that New Year's Dash officially being back, I think that one night of Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash means that New Year's Dash is going to have like angles again. I think. Because it's been a while, right? It's been many years since New Year's Dash was like, oh, everything changes, since Chris Jericho attacked Naito.
And then Jay White not joining the Bullet Club, and then maybe the Liger retirement.
Which that was a Liger retirement, but there was no like huge.
That was also the last proper New Year's Dash, wasn't it?
I'm really excited to see New Year's Dash. So in Hollywood, where's the Vermont Hollywood again? Is that far? 3 miles.
3 miles.
Is it in a shady area?
That's where we went with Kenzo. No, it's borderline. It's by LA City College.
So
right across
Jay
the
White's
street.
already back.
It's East Hollywood.
And
Jay White's already back.
Oh,
I
it's
think,
just
yeah,
going
I
to be
don't
a
know who else is on the card.
big multi-man tag, so nothing too special there. No, but I was looking at, okay, from here we're moving to Burning Spirit. That might be where we get like some of those.
Isn't there something in
yeah,
the
they're
UK
doing
coming up
like
too?
Royal Quest 2. So.
And that's going to be
So Crystal Palace.
what's going to. We'll have to see what the match card is for that, but I mean, hey, we love
Dude,
Japan, don't
their
we?
last show, Royal Quest 1, besides some of the technical issues they had, was really great. And also I remember that I think that Ishii like suplexed Kenta a little bit too hard and knocked him out. Sunday, September 11th, New Japan Strong Autumn Action in Las Vegas. So Shingo's going to be there.
Okay.
The tickets are kind of cheap. You thinking of going to that one?
No. No, I pretty much don't want to go to Vegas the rest of my life.
Seriously? I love Vegas, man.
Ugh,
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. And then we've got a thing called Declaration of Power in October 10th in Japan. I have no clue what this means. So it looks like we're waiting for a few things to hear about here. We've got Royal Quest, like I said, in October, and New Japan Strong in Vegas on September 11th.
And, well, at some point we have those Korakon making noise
in
shows,
September.
right?
Yeah.
But what, and then we have, when's World Tag League, if they're going to do a Super
that
J
nothing's
Cup
been
or
announced
whatever,
so far
Junior
as far as that.
J
But
Cup.
this Burning Spirit tour in September is probably when we're gonna get the noise, and they're gonna do the Yokohama Budokan, Korakuen, a couple other places, Gunma, Chiba, Osaka. So, by the way, have you been to Osaka? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
That's where my wife's from, yeah.
You've been to
Been
the
all over
downtown
Osaka.
river area with the big running guy on the sign? Seen that one?
Yep.
Did you see the
multiple
crab
times.
that
I think
does
I got
this?
a picture. I'll find it. Yeah.
What's it called? Shitemburi?
I don't know. Sure.
But it's the Running Man sign that everyone loves. I don't know what's so special about that.
Here, oh, look, there's me right in front of it.
Oh,
right
shit. That's the new LED one, too.
there. Yeah.
Let me just ask you, is it
And,
so many people there that it's, like, unreal? True.
I live in LA,
True.
so not really, but... oh, there's a picture from the show.
You live in LA, though.
Oh, there's us in front of the
The dog that returned to its owner.
Which
That's there?
or whatever.
Okay, so people just
In
listening,
Tokyo.
he's got a picture of a...
It's in Tokyo.
No, but
It's not
he
in
showed us a
Osaka.
picture of him in front of the Running Man in Osaka, which is a very famous neon sign.
Oh, this is great for
Yeah.
a podcast. Great stuff. Oh, there's
This
all of
Running
us
Man,
front of it,
it's a huge sign in Osaka that is very, very famous. It's been around for like over 50, 60 years. Did you have the chance to see? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have the chance to see any 3D signs at that point, or were those not a thing at that point?
That was 2019, so it's not that long ago. So
No,
I
these
don't-
just
I don't- nah, I don't know, maybe
debuted
'cause
like
we were
the
there
last
in
2
the day.
years. Have you heard of them? They've got
yeah.
like cubes cut out that
There
are
you
3D. Yeah, that's beautiful. And then you can take a little river. Can you take a little like a river train or a boat through there? You have to be able to.
Not really. I mean, it's kind of. There was a picture like when the Hanshin,
The Hanshin
Tigers won and everyone
which is
jumped in
Osaka's team, for those that
to
don't know.
celebrate.
All right, he's showing me
Yeah.
stuff on his phone, which he's
Yeah.
going to show me later tonight. Yeah, beautiful.
Osaka's
Yeah.
a beautiful
You
city.
show me those after the pod, because I can't explain them.
Oh, there's the sushi that we got
Ooh,
delivered to the
a
house.
big,
Oh,
huge
yeah.
bowl of different sushi. So, all right, for all you Japanophiles and freaks out there that watch too much hentai, you are in your... It's a thing.
Hentai.
I met some guy that watches
but
it. Actually, it's pretty weird, bro.
his name is John. His name is Ron
No.
Mensman.
You work at where I work, and you're gonna meet people like that. Let's move on real quick. Talk about a little something else. We've been doing good here, and let's finish this up by talking about our favorite wrestler, CM Punk, or your uncle's favorite wrestler. I'm sorry. Tell me what your uncle said about CM Punk originally before he joined AEW.
Worst WWE champion of all time.
How old is your uncle? And why did he
68?
hate? Let's hear about some of that. The why.
Oh, just thought he was a whiner, complainer, that kind of stuff.
Even though that's like part of his character?
Yeah. But, he's going to take it literally. And, the fact that the way
Is
he
he
left
wrong,
the company
though?
and just kind of quit and move,
And
In a way, no, he's
we'll
not.
use your uncle to kick off our chat about CM Punk. Is your uncle wrong? No. No, he's not.
No, he's not wrong. No, but again, I have some CM Punk shirts. I love CM Punk too, like kind of what he stands for and the fact that he was different and was always fighting the status quo. But I do understand. I've said it from the get-go. I understand why someone would hate CM Punk, and I understand why
Are we
someone
starting
would
to
love
learn
CM
that
Punk.
even if the status quo is really good, he probably still fights them? Do you remember
Maybe.
when I told you about the first time I ever heard about CM Punk? Yeah, I'll refresh your memory. In 2009, I listened to a podcast called like wrestling. What was it? It's Colt Cabana, something about wrestling. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. The Colt Cabana podcast?
Art of Wrestling.
No, it's called The
I
Art
listened
of
to it
Wrestling.
in 2009. Okay, so way before I got into wrestling and way after I got out of wrestling. But I was like, okay, I used to like wrestling, so this podcast is probably pretty cool. And the first episode I listened to was with an interview with some guy I never heard of called CM Punk, and he was talking about how like he's fucking tired of people coming up to him at the airport, and like he's fucking he tells people to fuck off, and like unless you're a little girl, and then you're okay, but like if you're not a little girl, like can't you tell that I'm like listening to my music and ignoring you? Many years ago I heard that. And that was in 2009, so he was like on the come up in WWE, right?
Right. I mean, he was a few years into his run at WWE.
Is CM Punk a dick in real life?
Yeah. I think it just really depends on when you run into him.
Yeah, but what if you're in the
back?
backstage and you run into him and you're like, hey, we're going to do a hardcore promo and we're going to talk shit about...
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe to some people, but like you can't really, unless you experience it yourself or you ask enough people. I mean,
What?
I feel like if he was a huge dick and that bad, he never would have been.
How do you
there,
feel about
again.
Hulk Hogan?
Well, that was an instance where CM Punk was never. As much as I don't like Hogan, I take CM Punk 1,000 times over Hulk Hogan. He was never to that level of notoriety and pop culture and general popularity. I mean, that's one of those things where they're just there because of their it doesn't matter if the guy was murdering people backstage, he still was going to be there because of who he was.
Why do you think CM Punk called out Hangman unannounced and went into business for himself this week?
I think Hangman probably rubbed them the wrong way, and I think Hangman's a guy that I don't really necessarily think that I think he's courteous and he's probably a good guy, but I don't think he's someone that's gonna bend over backwards when a guy like CM Punk is back there.
Especially when he's built his own career up from the ground up.
Yeah, as hard as a guy like Hangman worked, from like we've talked about how his his comeuppance in the world of wrestling in the last 3 or 4 years is really phenomenal when you think about it.
And if you think about Eddie Kingston, it's even more of an impressive come up in the sense that he was like kind of a nobody as far like I didn't even know who he was.
I mean, Adam Page was on the same level as Yujiro Takahashi and Chase Owens.
Yeah, but at least he was in New
ago.
Japan, right? Like we were talking about him. Like Eddie Kingston wasn't even in
but still,
kind of like big promotion.
No, Eddie Kingston was in high school gyms, and that's another
he's
story.
Another one.
But two completely different cases, I think there. But I just think maybe Adam Page didn't kiss his ass at the right time, or you know what I mean. I think Punk's a very moody person,
for sure.
and I think if he's your friend, he's a great friend. But if he doesn't like you, that's where the whole I don't think you get back in his good graces. I don't know. I mean, I thought he was kind of a different person this time around, and he was more appreciative to be there. But maybe that honeymoon period and everything's wearing off.
I mean, it's interesting to know. We know, Justin, you and I, and the fans that are listening, that you don't have to be best friends with someone to wrestle them, right?
I don't think so. I mean, over the years, there's a lot of
I don't think
cases and points of that.
I don't think Tanahashi and Omega liked each other that much.
No, I don't either, and I don't think Brett and
at
Sean
all
liked each other
right?
very much.
So
either.
It's like, do your fucking job, and that's just do your job, right? So it's a tough one, man. Like, if you're going into business for yourself, though, that's where it gets a little weird.
We can put the disclaimer out there. For all we know, the two of them are playing hopscotch in the back and playing patty cake backstage right now. We don't know for sure, but if we're just kind of reading between the lines on what we hear, and that's what makes the billion people that do wrestling podcasts interesting, is they like to speculate. So that's what we're doing with this, and it does seem that there could be a bit of maybe Tony Khan isn't as good as managing the egos as
I kind of feel bad for the guy, because I mean, if you get that many like top wrestlers in one group, like, and you're not Vince McMahon, right? Like, it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you get a coach that's wasn't like a great player or anything, and he's coaching all these superstars now. Like, how does he command the room?
He's not Vince McMahon. He doesn't intimidate people like he does. He's got to build that up over time. So we'll see how he deals with it. And a lot of that is going to show up this Wednesday on Dynamite. Who do you got?
Yeah. Mox or Punk? I feel a schmoz.
Yeah, putting it on free TV, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know AEW's, does a lot of, they use Dynamite as almost every few weeks they make.
Yeah, because they had the Winter is Coming, remember that one?
But,
and it was like, was it Pac versus Omega for the...
Well, and don't forget that we have their biggest show of the year, or second biggest show of the year. I don't really know. We've talked about, I don't know what their layout, all in, all out, right?
Out.
Those are
it's
two
coming
big
up
shows,
in a few
right?
weeks. We got a Monday off, by the way. Remember, All Out and Double or Nothing, we get Mondays off there, so always remember that. Yes.
Memorial Day and Labor Day. So, they're having one of their biggest shows of the year a week later.
Yeah.
Or a few days later.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, who are you going to do? Set up a whole new guy? Is MJF going to come out?
They're going to set something up. They're going to set something up to build to All Out. So I don't think whatever the result is of it is kind of just going to be,
Also, we've seen AEW do schmoz finishes and move on, and a lot of people are like, they don't do DQs, but they have had things like Chris Jericho and MJF, and then like someone cheats, and then the ref comes out and says, no, that way, So they know how to do dusty finishes without a full-on DQ or count out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think that there is that, Western element they need to have in their products simply because TNT, TBS, whatever.
Yeah, let's not let's not forget too that they're looking for huge ratings, right? They're about to get another TV deal,
Yeah.
and so fuck it, like put their biggest match on there. So a lot of stuff going on with AEW. God, I wish we could talk about the women's division if it was more exciting. I've got like nothing to say about it.
I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I've missed AEW the past few weeks simply just because
have
life and
if it was that interesting, you would have been watching every week. To be honest, like to be honest.
And sometimes when I get home from the office, the last thing I want to do is take my work computer out again. You know what I mean? When I was working from home, it was just like my computer was just always here.
But like I said,
take
like
the work computer out. I'm a lazy
work
person.
and home and all that
Middle
stuff.
of the
If
week,
it was that drawing you in that much, you'd figure out a way to watch it no matter what. You know, even with kids, like you'd watch it hours afterwards. So maybe it says something to you personally that, and I agree. I've been watching a little bit here and there. After watching the G1, I'm starting to really get on that train of like, I just don't know if American wrestling is my thing. You know,
I feel that way too, but I know when it's G1 season,
Yeah.
I drop everything, and it's the G1, and if the Mets are good, then it's baseball.
So and are the Mets good? Cool.
Yeah, they're in first place.
Were any of the matches this year in the G1 your match of the year? Because for me, I think that my match of the year was the tag team title match for AEW. Do you know what I'm talking about with Swerve in Our Glory and the Young Bucks? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like the G1 final kind of is now my match of the year.
It was pretty awesome. I'd have to do a little more reflecting to figure out.
Yeah,
But no,
and we got a lot of stuff coming up too, right? So who knows? Roman Reigns versus
Absolutely.
what's his name? Drew McIntyre. No, it's in Wales.
That'll be fun, but I don't.
They
Right.
sold like
Different country.
over 50. Dude, their sales are crazy. By the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this.
I heard that the tickets were
Bro, they've
super
sold like
expensive too.
they've sold like 80,000 tickets for LA already. Yeah, like they've
Really?
sold stupid amounts.
But don't get it twisted. That could have been the secondary market.
Well, I'm sure a lot of it is, but nonetheless, they get that money.
Because that's what happened. No, I know, but that's what happened with Double or Nothing, where you saw tickets be $11. Oh no, Forbidden Door. The Forbidden Door sold out really, really quick.
Yeah.
Don't forget, at United Center, and that morning of and that week of, you were seeing $11 tickets because all the scalpers bought them up.
Well,
and
if
they
we get
backfired.
$11 tickets to Sunday WrestleMania, we might be going, bro.
I have zero interest to going to WrestleMania.
Well, if
unless
we
I
get
hooked
really
up like
close
that, so
tickets,
yeah.
though, for $11, that'll probably be about 50.
Well, sure, I would.
Well, as I've talked to you before, we
know
probably WrestleCon. That's probably where it's at. They've announced everything is down the street from that downtown LA. We'll talk about that in person later. This
And I'll be doing something at some point.
and I'll
with
be around
our
as
work, too.
well. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Wrestling and G1 Climax. It was a great tournament. Just giving my general thoughts on the whole tournament. I thought this one was a lot of fun. Next year, when we have crowds back, it's going to be even better, is my guess. But we saw a whole lot of stuff here. We saw a step up from a lot of wrestlers like Tama Tonga. We saw Okan do really good. We saw Lawler just step up and step into this place and just fit right in. And we saw Okada win once again, but in a normal way of winning instead of a injury disqualification. What did you
Injury
think
stoppage,
in general
yeah.
of the G1?
I mean, it's just special like it is every year. I think you think of your wildest, amazing expectations, and then you take it down a few notches, and that's usually what you get with the G1. You get so excited about it, especially this year. You thought maybe we'd have a little more interaction with AEW, whatever, and then you just turn it down just a little bit, and then it's still a perfect. And, you know, the AEW wrestler they did let in, Lance Archer, was perfect.
History. He had
what it
history
was.
there, and he performed great.
Yeah. And apparently I hear that New Japan Strong is pretty
I don't
popular
know if that's
in Japan
necessary.
proper as well.
Okay, so that was they did that on Figure 4 online, and they asked Kevin Kelly, and he says he doesn't know, but he says that like a lot of people already knew the claps for Tom Lawler and such.
Well, what was cool is hearing like Tom
Mhm.
Lawler's music in Japan was just kind of something that was kind of trippy. Him coming in looking,
Mhm.
all filthy and stuff was something that we never really thought about happening in Japan proper. There were only things that we kind of imagined, and they happened. So next year, I have no idea what it's going to look like, but I would have to say it would have to be a little bigger than it was this year.
And can you
some
only
way.
imagine who the AEW talent they're going to send out next year if there's clapping? Because that was the big thing for a lot of people. I want to say this before we get out of here. President Obari gave a G1 Climax closing statement. And did you see this, Justin? So he said that they wanted to get 50,000 fans for, obviously, as far as the tickets. And they achieved 96% of that goal. They got over 48,000 fans this year, which was a 180% increase over last year's G1.
Well, I would imagine anything would be better than last
exactly.
year. Well, here's the thing, too, is like they were having these, like the last week of the G1 was like Tuesday, Wednesday, like in the middle of the work week. And people in Japan, they don't take the day off of work to go somewhere.
That was
I
was
think
rough they did it like on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I heard Meltzer even say that like they should have done Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They would have had like way more people talking about it.
That's what I'm saying. Unless they couldn't get the building
Who
for
knows,
that day, I don't know what it was, but and even Wrestle Kingdom. I mean, Wrestle Kingdom's usually
It's
in the middle of like, kind of
it's
their
whenever
winter
the
break-ish
4th
type
is,
thing,
bro.
the holiday season. Right, but why wouldn't they push it to Friday, Saturday, Sunday when they know they can get people to come?
It's
because
the
it's a night off,
disappointment fact of tradition. Like you watch sumo wrestling and they do all sorts of non-necessary bullshit, and the same thing goes with wrestling. Still, they love tradition. Japan is really big on tradition, and it has to be during these certain days, and it sucks. Really. Yeah. It really sucks, but it's some part of tradition, whether it meets money or not.
Hey, and Japanese are a very traditional, cautious society. So sometimes when you think you don't, maybe I don't understand this, you just have to understand.
Can I say to you that I watched some sumo wrestling last night, and the tradition was like making the matches so slow, dude. Like, they would throw their salt or whatever, and then they would just, like, get down, and then get back up, and then throw some more salt. They did that for, like, 10 minutes. Have you seen that?
I mean, I don't remember it ever taking
And then
that
a bunch of
long,
people with sponsors would walk around the ring.
I mean, and the matches don't last.
That's true, but I was like,
apparently,
really?
either.
Do you guys need to, like, throw salt, like, fucking 3 times? Like, it's the pageantry.
And the
Yeah.
build-up,
It's the pageantry, and it's kind of part of the tradition. But we will say no one this year got COVID as in the tournament, right?
Jeez, the last
Naito got injured.
The last person I heard was...
And then Jay White caught a cold, which they said might have been heat. Heat. Yeah, but I heard Kevin Kelly say, nah, he just got a cold.
I think he was just playing that up.
We'll see. We are...
saying how horrible the weather. I'm from Florida. This is
Justin
terrible.
and I will be doing another episode soon. If you guys have any recommendations, wrestling, and we would love to talk about wrestling and the history of New Japan, wrestling and the history of any other company,
yes.
Wrestling and NXT. Wait, we already did that one. Okay. So we are more excited to talk about all these topics as we ever have been. Thank you for the listeners. We appreciate you. This G1's been fun. Everything's been good. And anything else going on with you, Justin? Anything else you want to tell the fans before we get out of here?
Nothing that I'm going to expand upon, but there's stuff in the works
Awesome.
with me that can be pretty exciting. But anyways, just follow me at InRingArt on Instagram,
yes,
Twitter,
and we are
and
Wrestling and Pod. Look us up on TikTok and on Twitter. We are very happy that...
And Instagram.
No, I'm
I don't
sorry,
think we got
Instagram
TikTok
and
yet.
Twitter. We do not use Facebook.
Instagram,
We stay
there you
away
go,
from
yeah.
that. So, thank you guys. Yeah,
We are on
I'm
Friendster,
actually
though.
making a Grindr account for us. Someone said that was good to get. Social media.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
you
I
like
heard
you
that's good.
grind your
Grind,
media
it's kinda like,
and make it better.
you know.
So yeah. So
Right,
all right, guys. I
right,
appreciate
absolutely.
y'all. I will. We will talk to y'all soon. Thank you for listening, and we will see you guys later.